Michael Showers, Toxic. So this book has took longer than the Bible, but I firmly believe it's my very, very last true crime book in the genre. I've did 3 on Lee Duffy, 3 on Paul Sykes. That could be a film. Your Roy Shaws, but basically, this is my last one, and I believe I've kept the best until last. So members only. First and foremost, why did you call your biography members only?
Because that phrase has been used so often in my life through racism. When we went to clubs, the bouncer put his hands across and say, "Sorry, members only."
Right. So you were born in, let me think, so was it the 40s you were born?
1945.
Right, so obviously, predominantly growing up in Liverpool was quite a racist. So your kind of youth, if you like, was your 50s and your 60s and 70s, and obviously today, it's very different. In the 90s, it was a zero tolerance thing. There was no racism in football, thankfully. But back then, it was very, very different, wasn't it?
Oh, very much so. Very much so. I mean, it played a part in my life every single day. Every single day.
Yeah. I mean, that story is quite incredible. You obviously you're an avid Red, and you'd go to the matches, and a lot of people would say if you're standing next to it, clap your hands, and that was the 60s, and quite often the police would just be kind of sat grinning.
Oh, they sat there laughing.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got my next book out is a gentleman called Nick Manners. So I can see a lot in your story. So Nick grew up in this, let me think, so he's born in the 60s. So he grew up in Leeds, on the only black family on the Gipton estate. And a lot of his I'll give you a book, it'll be out very soon. And obviously, so I've got Junior Witters, Nick Manners, and Michael Showers, and there's 3 black men. Junior was from Bradford. Thankfully, society and life in general isn't like that. You do get the same Neanderthals and the odd moron, but it must have been extremely hard. And I certainly think from your perception and Nick Manners that almost shaped your life.
Oh, it did. There's no two ways about it. It did. I mean, even as I say, as recently as 2005, I had to take my son out of a school. I picked him up one day and I said, "What have you been doing?" He said, "I played hide and seek by myself." I said, "By yourself? Why?" He said, "Well, the boy told him not to play because I'm black." So yeah. I knew full well he must get it from his parents.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to have my son going through that all of his school life. So that was it.
Yeah. So this book, I mean, off the top of my head, we spent, let me think, so 2 days in Sean Atwood's, and then we did 3 days in the Adelphi Hotel. So we sat together for 5 days, and I mean, this book, off the top of my head, the Cray twins, Paul Sykes, obviously your younger brother, and I must say, and no disrespect to yourself, but I mean, hands down, Delroy Showers is the most interesting character I've ever met on this book journey. And people, those who know him will, you'll understand that comment. But obviously, Delroy was your younger brother. Very formidable in his time, as you both were, and he just didn't, he wouldn't stand for it. Basically, he wouldn't tolerate a lot of the stuff that, obviously he was a lot younger, than he was a little bit, I wouldn't say crazier, but because he's highly intelligent.
He was crazy.
I didn't want to say that, but I can get it. I could imagine. You don't become more or less Paul Sykes, or the other half, lifelong friend, if you're not got something in common with him.
Yeah.
Sykes was a. I mean, listen, the interest is growing rapidly in him as we speak. He's a guy who people are not quite sure about because he's had the millions of views talking about punching sharks. You knew him. In fact, in this book, there's a whole chapter dedicated to Paul Sykes. Who was he, Michael, and how did you find him?
I found he was a likeable person, Paul. As I say, I met him in the Holt prison. First time I'd ever met him. and just got along with him very well.
Yeah. He's certainly, I mean, highly intelligent fella, as your brother is. So they're both more or less bounce off each other. They taught each other, if you like. But some of the things that Sykes did just wasn't normal. You don't go through a life of. In life of, he obviously highly intelligent guy, but he had a passion for punching people. Yeah,
definitely.
Well, I think you yourself and your brother, and obviously, listen, people can read the book. You're very open, very honest. But I mean, there is some, there's some stories in there where you've had to just you can't paper up the cracks. It is what it is, and you've got the prison sentences. But I think if you and your brother, there was more logical thinking behind, where I think Paul did it for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you've met so many of the, how can I put it, infamous, notorious figures, if you like, in British criminal history. Your Bronsons, all the Cray firm, and I dare say you've met more or less the who's who from behind the door. And with your story, Michael, it's not just Britain, is it? It's abroad, and so ultimately you go in, certain and quite open about the Turkish prisons and all this. And I mean, why now then? Obviously, well, in your 70s, why did you? Because I know you've been asked before to do a book, but why now? What was the correct decision to think? Well, actually, do you know what? I'm going to get my story out.
Well, I've often seen bits in the papers and things like that now and again, or in other people's stories which weren't quite correct. So I thought I'd put the record straight.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, your name, the surname, is huge in Liverpool. It's very known. You've got a family, huge family, like massive. And it's almost that name kind of went against you in life before you've even got your foot in the door.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Yeah. So members only. I mean, so the foreword has been written by was it a probation officer? Am I right?
Yeah, ex-probation officer, social worker, and head of the immigration unit, Manor Brown.
That's right, yeah. But I mean, your story, just off the top of my head, I know you went into detail about the government offering you a job. I mean, I've seen your pictures with Neil Kinnock. I think you didn't accept it. And you were. You were basically made an example of. A lot of people who's been listening to this, Michael, will have seen that you were very instrumental in the Toxic riots.
Yeah, definitely.
So members only is. I think it's. February. Winter goes as far as February, so I would probably say about 98% sure we're going to get this book out. As I said, it has been a lengthy operation, if you like. There has been a few. Hurdles that have been put in, but I'm quite happy that this is my swan song, is it? It's almost like out the true crime genre. And I mean, are you a little apprehensive of what lays ahead, Michael, with the media? And
not really. I've had it before, so this couldn't be any worse. Yeah,
I mean, this is your one chance to basically put all your eggs in the basket and say, right, this was my look. Because I have seen you on your documentaries, and I have read about you in other books, which I will send you. There's a little picture of in a minute with you and your brother, and I was the Curtis Warren one or something like that. But ultimately, you're kind of tagged in that Liverpool life and Merseyside, and I mean, this is not me saying it, but the media have you as Mr. Big.
Yeah, that's been for a while. That was perpetrated by Ken Oxford, the then Chief Constable of Liverpool. It was him who gave me the Godfather title.
Yeah. And it's some title. It is some title. It's I don't think you're ever going to live that title down in this lifetime.
Nah.
Yeah. So obviously the book's going to come out. What does Michael Showers do now then? I mean, what's the day in the life of today?
Books. I read lots of books. go shopping, look after my grandchildren. That's it.
Yeah.
Look after my wife. That's it.
Yeah. So you're not really interested in, because listen, I've seen it before, and I've been around people write a book or they'll open up a YouTube channel and they think they're famous. And I mean, I spent a bit of time in Liverpool and last couple of years, and even times when I've not even been in touch and I've mentioned the name. I mean, I tell you, I was with the band, the famous 80s band last year, and was it the Christians?
Yes, indeed.
And they just started, I obviously said, look, I've got this book coming out, and they just started relaying Michael Shower's stories off the back. And I was with an actor a couple of years back, a guy who's sadly no longer here. Oh God, the name slips me. He's in Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels.
Jake Abraham.
Yes, and I mean straight away he was, telling me stories, and so the name is. It is a name that, as I said, I spent a few days in pubs in Liverpool, and everybody knows that surname, Showers, and it's unique because I've never come across anyone in my entire life other than you and your family called Showers.
Yeah.
It's so unusual. I mean, that, I suppose you can laugh about it now, but when you were sentenced to 22 years in 1991, the joke around Merseyside, particularly in the police stations, was the weather forecast is no showers for 22 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, but listen, this book is, it's your life story. Yeah, was there 11 of you at the start, then, Michael?
11 kids, yeah.
And your father was he like an African merchant seaman sailor?
He was indeed chief cook.
Right. Yeah. So obviously he settled at Liverpool docks and.
Yeah, he did indeed.
Because your family, the Showers family, is just, I mean, there's absolutely loads of yous, and the greatest respect. It's almost like you're bred like flies. It's just like. The name is, there's just so many, and when you see the name The Showers on Facebook or something, you just know that they're linked directly back to you, and it's like the name Cray. It's almost like you only ever know. I've never met anyone in my entire life called Cray other than that family, and there were kind of figures that you met, and if you like, and you got familiar with, and. I mean, before I let you go, I think me and you worked out that you were sentenced to 46 years 44 years by the courts, and I think you've did something almost like, is it 26 years?
About 20 odd.
Right. So, I mean, there's no glamour in that, is there?
Certainly not. Certainly not. A lot of time wasted.
Yeah. I dare say the best part of your life was eaten by cockroaches and locusts, but you're still here and you've got a story to tell, and I'm glad that you're going with War Cry Publishing. So Michael, it's always a pleasure, my friend. So listen, we're going to do a lot of work together, a lot of PR. Is there anything that you ultimately you want this book to, when people read Members Only, that you want people to, is there a message in there of, because you must have been asked the question so many times of, when now you can just put this biography out, it'll be on the Kindle, a little bit, and they think, look, you know what, go read my book.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it speaks for itself, and it's a powerful title. It's thought-provoking, and any kind of guy. As I've spoke a little bit to Nick Manners about it, and Members Only is, a lot of it. I'm in London in a couple of days, and in the old Jewish East End, there were a lot of well, who can forget that sign? No blacks, no dogs, no Irish.
Yeah.
And this wasn't a drama. This was real life.
Oh yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, but no, seriously, guys. So, Members Only, written by obviously myself, Jamie Boyle, is the story. And I'm not going to insult you and say it's this. I mean, it's an exclusive, but I'm going to tone down on the Mr. Big and all this. And yes, that's what the media that like to portray you as, and that's what most of if you Google the name, you and your brother, who can forget that iconic image, if you like, of the white Rolls Royce and driving around Toxteth, and I mean, I dare say that was done with a little hint, a swagger of arrogance, though. Was that almost in frustration, though, as you know, because you knew everyone was out to get you?
Well, the thing is, I thought, well, they know I'm at it. Why hide it?
Yeah. And the words "at it." I mean, that's something that your brother Delroy uses, or you know, he says, "I'm not at it." It's self-explanatory. Do you know what I mean? It's, you know. But listen, I'm very proud to have my name with this book, and when the time comes, Michael, you know, we've got a lot to work to do. And just remember, a lot of people think when you put the book out, it's the end. It's not. It's just the beginning, and you've got to work hard, and you know, unless your name's, sorry.
I understand that.
Yeah, listen, unless you're one of the Kardashians, or you know, you've got to be relentless. And but listen, I'm very, very confident in this, and you know, listen, I've did books always on other people, but I've spoke to people at length who've done the biography, and they've sat with me and they said, you know what, I'm glad I did that, because it's almost like you can put that part of your life away.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's almost like you make peace with your past, and you know, we will be speaking to a lot of papers apart from the Sun. I get it. You know, no explanation required for that. But always a pleasure, sir. I will be in touch very soon, Michael. God bless and have a great day.
Okay, Jamie, you take care. Bye.
Ta-ra, buddy. Bye.